Hi guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am so super excited to be doing another review. I'm going to be reviewing the new Huda Beauty Naughty Eyeshadow Palette. I decided that I wanted to do a little bit more of an in-depth review for you guys. I don't just want to use a product one time on camera when I'm specifically reviewing it. I feel like that's more of a full face first impressions type of deal, which you guys know those are my favorite videos to film. With that being said, all that you are going to see in this video is eyeshadow looks. I did do multiple eyeshadow looks over multiple days to show you guys how more of the eyeshadows perform. I felt like that would be more beneficial. I just want this video to be about this eyeshadow palette. I want you guys to know my thoughts, if I would recommend you guys purchasing it, and just really give me a couple days to really marinate and think about how I feel about the product. If you guys like this setup better, please let me know. If you're interested to see my thoughts and what eyeshadow looks we were able to come up with over a couple days, then keep on watching. Before you go any further, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel every 4 days, so you never have to miss me for too long. But yeah, let's get into it. My face is going through a real battle right now. You know those pimples that just hurt from underneath and you can tell that they're gonna be big? This is one of those. Today is day one of reviewing Huda Beauty Naughty Palette. This is what it looks like. I haven't even opened the packaging yet. I'm excited to see what this looks like in real life, because with eyeshadow palettes that have more of a warm color story or a nude color story, depending on what lighting you're looking at it in will depend on what it looks like. So this is just what the palette looks like at first glance. What I'm going to do different about this palette review, not only am I going to be reviewing it multiple days, I'm going to be doing it with multiple eyeshadow primers, and then I'm going to swatch every single one of these shades for you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a little bit more purple than I thought it would be, which honestly I'm not that mad at. I can see that I already am going to be able to do a lot of different things with this. The only thing I'm really scared about is using this slippery color, because it's supposed to be a mixture of like a gloss and shimmer together. Before we dive into the palette, I just want to tell you guys background information that I can find on it. Keep in mind, I actually was able to pick up this palette during the VIB sale, so I got it at a discounted price. This is the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude Eyeshadow Palette. It retails for $67. It includes 18 shades and it's also cruelty free. The swatches that I looked at made this palette look a lot warmer than what it actually is, but now that I'm reading the descriptions of these colors, a lot of them claim to have a lot more cool undertones, which I'm definitely seeing now that I'm looking at it in person. For today, I am going to use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus eyeshadow primer. I'm actually going to do one eye off camera and then I will be back. Okay, so this definitely turned out differently than what I thought it was going to be, and I'll get into that a little bit more when I do this eye. I hope to do a review of this over the next couple of days. That way I can just do number one, more than one look, and I can really review all of the eyeshadows and not just a couple of them. When you guys watch one of my reviews, I want you to be able to take my overall all complete thoughts on a product, not just a first impression. As a transition color, I am going to go into the color Arouse first, putting this all in my crease as a transition shade. It's definitely not a super nude palette like I thought it was going to be. It definitely leans more on the side of being a pinkish slash purple eyeshadow palette, which isn't a bad thing. I'm really excited to get into these swirled eyeshadows. I actually didn't even touch any today. Going in with Naughty on top of that. These colors are really blendable and they build on top of each other very nicely and they mix. Because I have found with some eyeshadow palettes, the colors don't really mix the way you want them to when you put them on top of each other. They kind of just go on top of each other and separate. I really, really love these mattes so far. It doesn't take a lot of work to get the amount of blendability that you would like. I'm going to take Spicy and put that on my outer V. And honestly, I'm really impressed with how well these are working with my actual eyelids. My eyes have been very, very, very dry lately. Just taking a fluffier brush and kind of blending that out. I can't put eye cream on them because it makes my eyelashes fall out. Just to give some dimension to that outer part of the eye. Going in with my finger, I'm actually going to use Desire today as my lid color. Now when you say an eyeshadow is creamy, this is actually really, really creamy in texture. Swatch on the finger, it's just super metallic. I had a little bit of trouble at first going onto the eye. After a couple swipes, you get that pigment. And I find that most of the time, unless an eyeshadow palette is super special, which does happen sometimes, the best way to get all of the pigment out of a shadow that you can is to use your finger or to use a brush with some setting spray. I'm gonna put a little bit more because it looks super metallic over here, but that also could be because I have a lot of texture on this eye. So let's see if these are buildable. Kinda, sorta. But it is definitely pigmented. That is not even a question. I'm not done with my eyes, but I'm gonna go ahead, finish the rest of my face, and then we're gonna come back and do my inner tear duct and my waterline also. Share any extra thoughts that I have with you guys if I do have any. So I will be back. All right, I am done with the face. This is what it is looking like right now, but I just do not feel complete without doing something right underneath here. Let me first and foremost say, this is giving me such Valentine's Day vibes. I am so in love with this eye look. It's almost like a pop of color. I think I'm really just happy because it kind of gave me an excuse to go overboard with the blush. We're gonna try and see what Desire looks like. And what I love about these shimmers is that they truly have pigment. So you're getting that glitter in there, but it's not just straight glitter, which is something that I absolutely hate. Oh, this might be a moment. Hold on. I've never done shimmer on the lower lash line. It looks like I have pink eye, guys. I really think that Irresistible would look absolutely gorgeous. That is like the perfect amount of glitter to make it open up the inside of the eye. I have no complaints whatsoever. I will say the only thing is, like I said, I thought this palette was going to be a little bit more nude than what it is, but honestly, the colors in it are so beautiful that it makes me want to wear this as my new everyday eyeshadow look. So far, absolutely a 10 out of 10, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another look. All right, guys, I am back for day 2, but before I get into how I came up with this eye look right here, I just wanted to go ahead and take a moment to insert some pictures that I took from yesterday in some natural lighting for you guys. It just made me fall in love with not only my eyeshadow look, but the way that my skin looked in general. This is the look that I was able to come up with for this eye, which definitely turned out a little bit different than I thought it would. Before I even started doing this eyeshadow look, I was a little bit hesitant because I'm using the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer, and I've really been loving this stuff, but I'm just gonna show you guys up close kind of what it's looking like. It has all these dried up balls in it. It's just getting drier and drier, which really makes me sad because I love the formula of this stuff. I love that it was my skin tone. I haven't even had it for that long, so I don't understand why it's drying up so bad. I mean, it still does its job after I apply the product. As you can see, it kind of balls up in certain places. I will take a dry brush and sweep everything that's balled up. It worked amazing with the eyeshadows over here. This eye turned out a lot differently than I thought it would, but I absolutely love it. For my transition colors, I am going to mix Arouse and Juicy. Look at how pigmented that is. I didn't even get a full pressure on that application. I think why I'm so conflicted with this eyeshadow palette is because it says it's a nude palette. And I mean, I guess it is, but it leans very, very, very much more on the pinky, purpley nudes than neutral nudes. So it did catch me off guard a little bit because it just wasn't what I expected it, but it was a pleasant surprise. I'm gonna take a smaller crease brush. I'm going to go into the color Hard, and I'm really just making sure I swirl this up. That way I get both of these shades that are in there. And I'm just putting this right here. When looking at this palette at first glance, I was like, oh, okay, I still have my golds in here. But when I applied them onto this eye, they actually have purple shimmer in them. And then you can kind of see where I have all this brown over here. I'm just going to slightly bring it over here. I'm not applying much pressure, but I just want to have a smoother transition. And then just taking a little bit more and just focusing it right in here. I put Please Me on the bottom. So I'm just taking my finger. Look at how beautiful that swatch is. One swipe. I'm taking it and I'm focusing it where I haven't really applied any color. Let me remind you guys, this is all from one swipe. If you guys have watched my last full face of first impressions, well, no, not my last one, the one where I used the Nikki Tutorials eyeshadow palette, I was so conflicted with her eyeshadow palette because the glittery eyeshadows just did not have any pigment in them. They were straight glitter, and this is glittery, but it's also pigmented. So you're getting that payoff. And then just on top of that, taking a different finger and going in with Tantric. It's a completely different gold, and you can tell when I put it on top of that. It's like I just put it on top of a white surface. And then just taking a blending brush, and as I always do, blend a little bit of the glitter up. I am going to do the rest of my face, and then we will come back, do the inner quarter, and then the waterline. All right, guys, I am back. I'm done with everything except for underneath the eyes. I am so impressed with all the mattes that I've used so far. I am so impressed with all of the shimmers, all of the more glittery shades, like the ones that are on my eyes right now. What I really appreciate about these two is that they're not super chunky. Some glittery eyeshadows can tend to really exaggerate the texture on your eyes, but I almost feel like this is kind of working with the texture on my eyes to just give more dimension and kind of let the light hit really nicely. From head on, you're gonna get a different look on the outside. Putting my finger into all, especially, I wanna say, especially these shimmery shades and the glittery shades, they are so super creamy. They almost feel like they could be liquid eyeshadows, just they still have that solidity to them. For the lower lash line today, I am going to go in with Provocative. I wanna try to use all these shades like I said. One thing I have noticed about this palette is that most of the shadows look a lot different going on than they do on the actual eye. OMG, that is gorgeous. That is the most beautiful purple, and I like that it really hung onto just the inner part of my lower lash line. I am going to go ahead and use Flower Power. Flower Power seems to be a bit more chunky, but look at that pigment. I really don't use a lot of glittery eyeshadows, but I did use a makeup wipe to wipe off the extra glitter on my face before applying my complexion stuff, and I could still kind of see it. All right, guys, this is the completed look. I am so in love with this eyeshadow look. It definitely came out a lot different than what I expected it to, which always isn't a bad thing. I've been really impressed with this eyeshadow palette. Even these more nude colors, they look like they would be more neutral and warm, but they're definitely very on much so the pinky side of things. I would give it a 9 out of 10 just because it's kind of hard to plan what you want to do and look at colors and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put this together and this together and then hope that it looks good, but then it kind of look different than what you thought it was because the colors just look different than what they were in the pan. And I think I'm loving it so much because these are warmer toned. If it's warm, I can make it work. The cooler side of things is where I'm not as comfortable. This palette makes me want to make this an everyday look. I will be back tomorrow. If I could use one word to describe this whole look, I would say unexpected. By the way, this is day 3. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I just want to go ahead and put up some pictures from the other day because it was not yesterday, not even gonna lie. I don't know if I love this look more or if I love the first day. I'm just gonna walk you guys through how I came up with this. I'm really not sure how I feel about it. This is the look that I'm the most hesitant about. For eyeshadow primer today, I just went ahead and used this P. Louise base. This is in the color Rumor 6. Usually I do the first eye off camera, that way I kind of have a better idea of what I'm doing on this eye. Really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. For a transition color, I am just going to mix Rough and Hypnotic. These seem to be the most browny besides Arouse and Juicy, and look at how they come off on the eye. Girl, that's pink. It's just really deceiving, but it still always ends up coming out decent or just really good. The glitters, I wasn't as surprised when it looked a little different on the eye than it did on the pan, but with these I was definitely surprised. Now I am going to go back over top of those as a crease color. I'm going to mix Untamed and Filthy. I'm very lightly dusting this color on here because these shadows are very pigmented. So we had some pink the first day, a lighter pink yesterday, and then just a straight up purple blue look. But they blend together so well. For my outer V shape, I'm just going to go in with Untamed and put this right in the outer V. I just take the same blending brush, and I usually, you see how I've been going back and forth, I'm really just going to concentrate this color right in here. And now I'm just putting a little bit more of Filthy on top of this because it turns out a little bit more purple than I wanted it to over here, and I also want to really accentuate the crease color over here. First with Slippery, which is the kind of glossy color, and it comes out to be this really, it's clear but it has an orangish tint to it, and I just started by putting it on my eye like this. And you can definitely see the shimmers in it. Me putting this down first was kind of genius because the glitters stuck really well to this. But this is what it looks like on its own. I've never even seen a glossy lid, but it doesn't look bad. This honestly would be so interesting to just keep it like this. It actually looks really different than something I would usually do. On top of that, I went in with Passion. But when you swatch it, it's more bluish, purplish, multi-chrome colored. One type of color. I'm just putting this where I put Slippery. And I was gonna stop here and leave it because honestly, that is so gorgeous. I actually went ahead and took Irresistible and I put it right where the outside of my pupil is, just a dot of it. Taking this e.l.f. blending brush, just blending it sideways. And boom, so you have all these different dimensions to the eye. This is the eye look so far. I still am going to do the under eye and also my inner corner, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face and then we'll come back. So I just finished the rest of my face. We're not gonna talk about it. For my inner corner color, I want to use Shameless. This shadow I can tell is a little bit more textured. It's not as consistent all the way throughout like most of them were. The under eye, I think I just want to use Passion because I feel like that would really bring out the blue in the look. I think this palette is really good. Would I recommend you purchasing it? Yes, I would. If you're somebody who likes more pinky nudes versus more warm brown nudes, I think you would really, really like this. And honestly, I could see myself using this on an everyday basis very, very easily. The shimmers in this palette just made it so easy to love what was going on. The mattes made it so easy. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the swatches on the screen. And I'm just gonna go first row, second row, and then third row from left to right. That way you guys can see them. But I mean, I don't think I need to swatch anything for you guys right now. I've used every single color in here and I'm definitely a fan. My only complaint I would say is just that it's pretty deceiving, I think, but packaging is super nice. I didn't even talk about the packaging. So it comes in this pinkish purple component and the actual palette itself. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of review. If you guys like these better, I just feel like I can give you a more thorough review this way, then please let me know and give me a thumbs up. That way I do know. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.